Hello, and welcome to BUS 125 Business English Pronouns continued yet again. Here we're going to talk about a few pronouns, tips and tricks for choosing the right pronoun in areas where there are common mistakes. Let's get started. First, let's talk about when we have compound subject or compound object pronouns, meaning when we have the choice between things like you or I, or us or them, or how do we choose which is correct? And let's take a look at a few examples. Would we say Brian Powers and I, or Brian Powers and me leave for Mexico on Monday? Hopefully that one's easy. That is a compound subject, and you should know the answer is Brian Powers and I leave for Mexico on Monday. But how about this second one? Sandy sent copies to Carlos and I, or Sandy sent copies to Carlos and me. What I often hear is people say Sandy sent copies to Carlos and I, but the correct answer is Sandy sent copies to Carlos and me. And the way in which we figure this out is simple. When you have nouns or pronouns at the front end or the back end of a sentence joined by and or, you need to determine whether it's part of the subject or the object, and then you choose which case to use. What? Let's see if we can make that easier. What I like to do is omit everything in the compound except the pronoun, and then go from there, say the sentence aloud, and see if it works. So for example, in this case, get rid of Brian Powers and I, and just say, I leave for Mexico on Monday. Nice. And in this case, get rid of Carlos and just say, Sandy sent copies to, well, you wouldn't say I, you would say me. And that helps a lot when you have compound subject and object pronouns. Let's continue. Which is correct? In this case, we're doing comparisons with pronouns. Would we say Andres has more time than I, or Andres has more time than me? Well, the actual correct answer is this. Andres has more time than I. But most often we say this, Andres has more time than me. And here's how you know how to fix this one. You want to complete the clause by completing the sentence, and then we say the choice would be obvious. What? What do you mean by that? Well, in this top case, if we would just complete the thought, Andres has more time than I have. Andres has more time than me have. Oh, now I feel foolish saying this and realize I should always be saying that. Anytime I have a comparison with than or as, I need to complete the thought. Let's take a look at this. This problem affects Patricia as much as I, versus this problem affects Patricia as much as me. This one's a little more complicated, but it's still the same idea. In this case, this problem affects Patricia as much as I affect Patricia? I'm not quite sure that that's what I'm saying. In this case, this problem affects Patricia as much as it affects me. Oh, that's what I'm saying. And so in this case, the proper choice is me. They can be a little difficult, but if you just complete the thought with your verbs and realize what you're trying to say, you should be able to get to the solution. What about if we have pronoun phrases? For example, us supervisors met with the union, or we supervisors met with the union. This is the same deal where, in this case, the top one, supervisors is actually working together with us, or supervisors is working together with we, but it confuses you when you're trying to think which pronoun to choose. So get rid of it. Would you say us met with the union or we met with the union? I hope you know you would say we met with the union, and that's how you know which one to choose. So you admit that noun or the positive, in this case supervisors, following the pronoun, and just say the sentence out loud. Let's try this. The teacher told us students to study hard. The teacher told we students to study hard. Well, where's that a positive? Where is that noun following the pronoun? It's students. Get rid of it. The teacher told us to study hard, or the teacher told we to study hard? Hopefully you know it's the teacher told us to study hard. Let's move on. Give self-assessment C a try and see if you can master these techniques. You may pause this recording. Let's end with pronouns ending in self. These are things like myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, etc. And please note that himself is the proper way for this pronoun. It is never his self. Let's see, which is correct for these? Marlene and myself developed the strategy. Send the report to my secretary or myself. Sandra herself developed the strategy, or she made copies and kept one for herself. Only 2 are right and 2 are wrong. And I'm here to tell you these top 2 are incorrect. never use a pronoun in the subject and never use this kind of pronoun as the object. There are only two ways in which we use the self pronouns, and here they are. They can emphasize or intensify the use of a noun or pronoun. It's called the intensive use. Something like, well, here's actually used incorrectly. When we asked the cook if we could help, he said that, well, this is used correctly, forgive me. When we asked the cook if we could help, he said that he himself prefers to barbecue. Not when we asked the cook if we could help, he said that he prefers to barbecue himself. And hopefully you can see what's crazy about that. The second one, he's putting himself in the barbecue. Or they can refer back to a noun or pronoun that's already been named. That's called reflexive use, such as Jennifer and Jason paid themselves. Themselves is referring back to Jennifer and Jason, a bonus for completing the strategic plan. But we wouldn't say Jennifer and myself paid myself a bonus. It wouldn't be that way because you don't want to use them as subject sentence. So here's again where we're incorrect. Daisy and myself will be studying. No, Daisy and I. Give the keys to Kayla or myself? No, give the keys to Kayla or to me. And then this terrible one, Daniel himself is in charge of the details. Normally this would be it right, but this is the intensive use, but we know it should be Daniel himself is in charge of the details. Give self-assessment D a try and see if you can master those. And I hope that this helped you with this last part of pronouns. Thanks.